Imagine this, the greatest structure humans ever built. It's supposed to end in a perfect sharp point, like an arrow. But what you see today isn't a complete tip, it's like someone cut it off. So, where did the top of the Great Pyramid go? And was it really made of gold like so many people say? Before we start, hit like and subscribe, because here we explore the strange questions that pop into your mind right before you fall asleep. For millennia, the Great Pyramid of Giza has guarded its secrets, but perhaps the most visible mystery is the one right at the very top. What happened to its peak? To understand what's missing, we first need to understand what was once there. The tip people talk about has a name, the capstone, or more formally, the pyramidion. This wasn't just another block, it was the final, crowning piece of the entire colossal structure, a miniature pyramid in its own right, perfectly mirroring the geometry of the monument it completed. It's a relatively small piece compared to the whole pyramid, but its significance was immense. While appearing tiny from the ground, the pyramidion of the Great Pyramid was likely a single massive block of stone, weighing several tons. It was the architectural exclamation point, giving the pyramid its sharp, iconic peak. These capstones were often crafted from special, high-quality materials like fine-grained granite or limestone, distinct from the main blocks. But historical accounts and archaeological evidence suggest something even more spectacular. Many pyramidions were believed to have been sheathed in a gleaming metal, like electrum, a natural alloy of gold and silver, or even pure gold. Imagine the effect. This gilded point would catch the very first and last rays of the sun each day, blazing like a star and appearing to connect the earthly tomb of the pharaoh directly with the heavens and the sun god, Ra. And here's something many people forget. The pyramidion's brilliance didn't stand alone. The pyramids didn't always look like the rough brown stone you see today. Originally, they were encased in over 144,000 blocks of highly polished, brilliant white Tura limestone. These casing stones were quarried from across the Nile and fitted with a precision that modern engineers still marvel at. With joints so tight, you couldn't slip a piece of paper between them. Polished to a mirror-like finish, the entire pyramid would have shone with a dazzling, unified light. Ancient writers described them not as stair-stepped monuments, but as smooth, gleaming jewels in the desert, visible for miles. The golden pyramidion was simply the final, most sacred touch on this magnificent light-gathering machine. When it was first completed, the Great Pyramid of Giza stood as a testament to human ambition, soaring to a height of nearly 147 meters, or 481 feet. For almost 4 millennia, it was the tallest man-made structure on Earth, but the pyramid we see today is a shadow of its former self, now measuring about 138 meters. So, what happened to those missing 9 meters? The answer is a story of both natural decay and human intervention. In its prime, the pyramid didn't have the rough stepped appearance we're familiar with. It was encased in a layer of highly polished white Tura limestone. These casing stones were cut with such precision that they fit together seamlessly, creating a smooth, angled surface that would have gleamed under the Egyptian sun. Ancient writers described it as a structure that seemed to capture and reflect the light, a brilliant, shining beacon visible for miles around. But the biggest change came from the loss of this magnificent outer layer. Over the centuries, the forces of nature took their toll. Earthquakes, most notably a massive one in 1303 AD, loosened many of the casing stones, making them vulnerable. This event was a turning point. The damage made it far easier for subsequent rulers and builders to see the pyramid not as a sacred monument, but as a convenient, pre-cut quarry. Beginning in the medieval period, these prized limestone blocks were systematically stripped away to build the mosques, fortresses, and palaces of a burgeoning Cairo. What took decades to build was dismantled piece by piece over centuries. This removal of its protective skin exposed the softer core blocks underneath to the relentless forces of wind, sand, and extreme temperatures, accelerating the erosion that continues to this day. With its entire outer casing and the very peak of the structure gone, it's no surprise that the pyramidion, the final capstone, could have vanished along with it. Of all the theories, the most straightforward is also the most common in human history. Theft. For millennia, the Great Pyramid stood as a silent giant, but as empires rose and fell around it, its sacred protection waned. It became seen not as a tomb for a god-king, but as a mountain of treasure and raw materials waiting to be claimed. The very top of this mountain would have been the ultimate prize, A capstone, or pyramidion, would have been an obvious target for looters, especially if it was adorned with anything valuable. Popular legend, and even some ancient accounts, claim it was solid gold. While this is almost certainly an exaggeration, the sheer weight and cost make it highly improbable. The reality is likely just as tempting. The scholarly consensus leans towards a capstone made of fine limestone or granite, which was then sheathed in a gleaming metal like electrum, a natural alloy of gold and silver, or pure gold leaf. To the ancient Egyptians, this metal casing would have caught the sun's rays, making the pyramid's peak shine like a second sun. But to looters in later eras, particularly during the Middle Ages, that shiny metal represented immense portable wealth. During this period, Cairo was expanding rapidly, and there was a voracious appetite for both building materials and treasure to fund new constructions. The pyramids were treated as a convenient pre-cut quarry. We know for a fact that the pyramid's smooth, white Tura limestone casing was systematically stripped away over centuries to build the mosques and fortresses of Cairo. The workers who performed this dangerous task were already scaling the monument. For them, prying off the valuable metal sheathing from the capstone would have been the first and most profitable objective. It would have been a difficult and perilous job, but the reward was simply too great to ignore. Once the precious metal was gone, the stone pyramidion itself was left exposed and vulnerable. It could have been intentionally toppled, shattering into countless pieces upon hitting the ground 450 feet below. Or, it might have been broken apart right at the summit and its fragments discarded or carried away. In the long, chaotic history of the Giza plateau, the stone itself, stripped of its value, was simply lost to time. There was a massive earthquake in 1303 that affected large parts of the eastern Mediterranean, including Egypt. Some engineering discussions suggest earthquakes may have contributed to loosening and damaging parts of the casing stones over time. If the pyramid's outer layers were weakened across centuries, the very top, where everything is most exposed, could have been affected too. This is one of the strongest ideas when we talk about the casing stones. Many were removed and reused in construction over the centuries. If people were taking and recycling the outer casing, why wouldn't the capstone be taken too? Compared to the blocks deep inside the pyramid, a capstone is small enough to transport more easily. Some people believe the capstone may still be around, maybe broken into pieces and buried under debris near the pyramid. Not finding it doesn't mean it's impossible. It simply means there's no confirmed discovery of it yet. Look at the Pyramid of Khafre, the second pyramid at Giza. You can still see some casing stones near its top, which gives you a powerful image of what the pyramids once looked like. Smooth, bright, and almost glowing. The Great Pyramid lost most of that casing, so the mystery of its missing capstone feels even bigger. The top today is relatively flat, and that makes sense if upper layers were removed, the capstone broke apart, or it was taken away and never returned. And once the smooth casing disappeared, the pyramid started looking more like stacked steps instead of a clean, perfect surface. Honestly, we don't know the exact confirmed location of the Great Pyramid's capstone, but the most realistic explanations are ancient theft, earthquakes and erosion, removal and reuse of stones over centuries, or broken fragments still buried somewhere nearby. But here's the question that keeps you awake. If the tip was removed, who removed it, and when? And if it once had a shiny surface, what did the pyramid look like when it lit up the entire Giza plateau? Tell me in the comments, which theory do you believe most? And don't forget to like and subscribe, because the next question is going to be even stranger.